Perfect. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. I already kind of gave you guys a preview. And for those of you on my mailing list, or if you were paying attention when I put out the announcement, today is going to be all about the breakthrough because this sister right here, she is the master of the breakthrough on so many levels. And I could literally talk to her for hours. Like literally, this could be like a master class with me and V. So her name is Wyevetra, even though everyone who knows her and loves her calls her V. And so that's how I'm going to refer to her during our conversation today. And I just want to share just a little bit about how I met V. And it's so funny because the way I met V was really through her husband. Her husband, V and I kind of have this inside joke thing because I say that my husband and her husband must be cousins. They must be,
I
they,
think they really are.
because they are made from the same kind of cloth. I was on vacation. Actually, this was, I don't even remember what year it was, but it was probably more than 5 years. More than 5 years ago, I was on vacation and I had a private practice. Some of y'all know my office was in Fort Washington, Maryland, top floor. And someone kept leaving messages on my phone. Kept leaving all these messages talking about Miss Brown. I really need to talk to you. I did not know this man from Adam, but he kept calling and saying, it's an emergency. I really need to talk to you. And I know just from experience that whenever a husband is blowing up my phone and he doesn't even know me, he is calling Counselor Brown, Therapist Brown, I know he must be in a little bit of trouble. And as soon as, because I had to respond to him during 4th of July, V. Does that sound?
That is so funny. I
Because
didn't know
that's,
that.
I was like, who is
I
leaving
didn't know that.
this? Don't they know it's a holiday? And this brother was like, I don't know what holiday it is, but I need to answer my calls. And it wasn't long after that that I had you and him in my office sitting on the couch.
Yep.
And V, I have to tell you, I don't even know if I've ever told you this because V is such a warm and loving person. Anybody who knows her knows that. But when they came in my office, she had the refrigerator on blast. I was, uh-oh. And he kept talking and talking, and all I could think was, she has left the building. And how many of you
Yes.
can relate to being frustrated in your relationship? Frustrating, whether it's marriage or whether it's a long-term relationship where you have been saying the same thing over and over and over again to your mate or to your spouse, and they have not heard you, and now all of a sudden they want to hear you. Well, she was like, the speakers are turned off, the refrigerator is turned on, I'm trying to hear you right now.
I almost didn't make it. We almost didn't make it to the couch.
She almost, you can tell, she barely wanted to make it to the couch.
Yes,
But
yes, yes.
so glad that she did. Because even though they came through my door with a whole lot of marital disruption, V has been the biggest blessing to my life. And it has just been a joy watching her evolve. And so there again, there's so much I could talk about with her and her particular story. But one of the main themes and things that I have worked with V on is her being able to take care of herself. How many of
Yes.
you realize that if you don't take care of yourself, you're going to be in big trouble? And she was a mother, even though at the time I met her, her children, I think your son was in college, and I think your daughter either had graduated or was just graduating from college.
Hmm.
No,
Or Domino, Jay was in high school and Dominique was in at undergrad.
wow, okay. So
Yeah.
they're getting out the nest, but one of the bigger issues were she met her husband and had been dating her husband since 15. So some of y'all, listen up. If you have been with a man and he has been your first love, your high school love, the only love you have ever known, how in the world, what is it that happens, V, when a woman falls in love, and how do you get to the place where literally you just give yourself, all of yourself away?
Okay, so um, I guess you want, so growing up, for me it was belief system, right? You're told when you're young, when you're to grow up, you're gonna find a man who loves you. You're gonna do all these. You're gonna make sure that he's happy. You're gonna make sure that you're in good position with him. You're gonna have kids. You're gonna have this perfect life together because you're gonna do. And so I was raised to do, and I was
Yes,
raised to consume myself with um other with what he wanted to do. So when he came around, it was like, okay, because one is a lot of it is my natural personality to be like, okay, you know what, sure, we can do that because I like a lot of things, right? So he wanted to go to the racetrack and bet on horses. I'm like, cool, that sounds like fun. We'll go do that. Or he wanted, or if he wanted to just, go and watch some basketball games. Okay, cool. I can do that. All right. Like, well, I'm going to coach basketball now. Can you are the scorekeeper. I can do that. Absolutely.
wow.
Yes. For me, it was like I'm spending time with him in his life. And because of that, it's going to give me value with
Mm,
him. I'm going to build value points with him.
yes.
Right. And at the same time,
Let me just pause there because, again, sometimes we are so unaware as women that we are using our relationships as our own value. We are plugging in to the men in our lives. And in a minute, I know she's going to talk about what even happened with her kids. We're either plugging into our man or you're plugging into your kids. You're plugging into something outside of you to feel your sense of worth and your sense of value.
yes.
When did you first kind of realize, V, that it wasn't? Because, one of the things that happens is when you are constantly saying yes to everybody else, at some point you realize, I haven't said yes to myself.
Yeah. Um, so, honestly, I didn't realize that I wasn't saying yes to myself until I met you.
Wow.
And on that couch and having that first conversation, I was like, that's right. Like, I just didn't. I taught him how to treat me. I taught people how to treat me, not just him. I taught my kids. I taught my mother. I taught my father. I taught my friends how to treat me
Yeah. And
because of how they saw me treat. So if I'm giving up, I gave up all of me. I prioritized them over
mhm,
me. And when I did that, I showed them that prioritizing me wasn't necessary.
absolutely. Because listen up, ladies, if you're constantly, and there's nothing wrong with service, there's nothing wrong with loving other people. But if you are constantly in a space where you're saying, don't worry about me, I'm good, let me take care of you, don't worry about me, after a while, people
Yeah.
start to believe you and they
Yeah.
worry about you.
They don't worry about you. I mean, over the years, it was one of those things where you make a big deal about everybody else's points in life, their goals, their high points, their the things that they've done to be great. Like you make a big deal out of those things. And when those things are happening in your life and nobody's like being like, "Hey, that is so great," but you hear them talking about everybody else's things, and I'm sitting here, honestly, I felt like the incredible invisible woman.
Yes.
That's how I felt. I was the incredible invisible woman. Everything got done, everything, I'm here making strides and growing in my career, growing, raising these children, and that was just what I'm supposed to do.
What was it like for you, V, to realize? Because, again, one of the things I say a lot is in life, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you require. And so, what was it like for you to realize that just because you were doing all of that for everyone else, didn't mean that you would automatically get it back, that you actually had to ask for what V needed. How did you shift that around in your mind when you had pretty much just in your DNA been, I'll help you, I'll do it for you, I'll be there for you? How did you begin to switch that around?
It took some time because I had to first appreciate me. I had to do that for me. I wasn't even doing it for myself. I wasn't making the request of myself for what I needed. So it's literally started with me doing that with me. Like, what do you need? What do you like? What do you love? I was something to somebody since I was a teenager. My mom worked, my dad worked. I had a little brother to raise. My mom went into the hospital. I had my dad, who she had spoiled completely rotten, that expected me to do everything. I was like wife number two while she was down for weeks, 6 weeks.
Wow.
And so I felt like I was somebody. It got to the point where it's like, okay, now that I can breathe, kids are out, they're doing, they're in a space where they're a lot more self-sufficient. What do I like? What is my requirement of me? And I didn't know. It took some time. It took lots of conversations to even understand what that meant.
Yes, yeah. And one of the things that I said, just even as I was letting people know we would be talking about this today, that a lot of times breakdowns happen in our lives because they're nothing more than a divine invitation. And some breakdowns are necessary. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
even though the friction between you and your hubby, who God bless him, because one of the things I say about him is he sincerely didn't even know that he had been taking you for granted. I could tell.
No. Yeah. Yeah. You could tell.
Because he kept trying to understand, oh, I need to do that. I need to tell her this. Because when you've been with someone for so long, I think people just assume that they're always going to be
You
there
know.
and that they're always in. And I love what you just said. I want
Yeah.
ladies to sink that in. I was something for everybody else, but I was nothing for me. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Something
And
for every.
and yeah. And for
How did
me, it
you
was
find you? How did you find you, V? Because that was one of the main things you said to me.
so
I need
so
to find. How did you find you?
I had to leave. I had to leave to find me. And and well, let me step back for a second, because when all of that's happening, right, and you're feeling depleted. So I was giving from a place of depletion. Like, I
Yes.
wasn't full, and I didn't realize it until, birthdays go by, or Valentine's Day, or whatever, or I have a, big thing happening at work, and it's just like no, like, acknowledgement of it at all. um and so it's one of those things where I had to, during that space, you have, everybody else telling you, all giving you your love language, right?
Yes.
And I'm like, well, but why am I not getting this from the person that I want it to be from, right?
Yes.
And so for me, it was one of those things where you have other things that come into your life that make you realize, you know what, I've been missing that.
Yeah.
I've been missing that. I've just been missing being heard.
Yes.
I've
Yes.
been missing being seen. And, but I had to get to a place where I felt it was okay for me to even ask for it, because the world tells you that you don't nobody care about your happiness.
Yes.
Don't nobody, you're supposed to give it away. You're here, to serve. Church tells you that, right? You're here to
Yes.
serve and serve everybody else.
Yes.
What and so you're when you grow up, like, what is that for me? So for me, the way to get that I was able to do it was I had to give myself permission
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
be okay with the things that fell off when I
Yeah.
gave myself permission.
Yes. Because everybody
And
can't.
I had to go. I
Let,
had to go.
let
I
me
had to go because in a space, hmm?
I was saying everyone cannot handle your change and transformation. If you,
No.
the one who has shown up, been there, always bailing people out emotionally, financially, always the one to have your presence there, and you finally realize, you know what, I need to do that for me now. That means you can't be everywhere for them and be there for you. And everyone's not going to like that. So, how did you deal with people maybe feeling some kind of way that you couldn't come running, that their
It was
911?
hard, you know.
Did you hear that, V?
No, say that one more time.
How did you deal with them adjusting to the fact that you couldn't no longer just drop everything and come running?
It was hard because that's just not the heart space that I'm usually giving from. And so it's saying, realizing that no is a complete answer and
Mhm.
not feeling like I had to give a reason for saying no, because what comes back to you is, so you're telling me no? Like, I never tell you no. And the answer is that, and that's not actually true because I've never given you a reason to tell me no,
Right,
right?
right. Oh my gosh, yes,
Because I always say yes.
yes.
So, so it was hard because people that it helped me to see that people, it was a rude awakening that people were really only there for what I could give in the time that I could give it. And that was very hurtful and very painful.
Yes.
And
Let,
I had to learn how to love them beyond that because I taught them how to do that to me.
hmm,
I taught them that it was okay.
yes. Girl, that's deep. And again, I want to just pause for a minute because I know there are a few of you who have associated love with work. And that if you love somebody, you're always working, you're always doing, you're always moving. But love is free. Think about it. What does a baby have to do to get your love?
Absolutely nothing.
But somehow, as we become adults, we get into this mindset that if I love you, then I'll do this. If you love me, then
Yeah.
this. And if I
Yeah.
say no to you, then I don't love you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we have to be able to really look at what does that set up that I have to sacrifice me to love you.
Yes. And that's what I was doing for a very long time, sacrificing me to love others, and especially in my household, right? And
Yeah.
so you're looked at that you, I want to go get a pedicure. Why? Why do you need to do, didn't you do that last week?
Right.
Yeah, I
Right.
did.
Right.
But, and I had to, so it was very difficult. I had to, so a separation was needed because we had been together for so long. and and the change and the transformation just couldn't take place in the same place. It just couldn't.
Yes, I like that, V. Sometimes change and transformation can't take place in the same place.
It can't because everything is way too familiar. Everything.
Wow. Wow.
Everything. And including for me because you revert back to those same things.
The same patterns.
And so we separated, and I spent a lot of time, and during that time I had another relationship. I had that God told me, I heard God clearly that no, this is not why this time is here.
Mm-hmm.
This is time for me and you.
Can I pause again? Because I want to really help a lot of women. Because again, this is real grown woman talk. So many women call me looking over the fence, looking at the grass is greener over there because they are getting what they are craving, and they don't realize that the vision can be skewed because you're looking at it from an empty place. So
Yes.
everything looks good and appetizing when you're
Yes. Yes. And you don't realize that how depleted you are until you get the things that you've been thinking that you were asking for, or that you even didn't shouldn't have to ask for, because it's, I'm here. And the other part of it is that you see people in your life give, and especially for me in this conversation, my husband give that to other people.
Yes.
So I would hear, he would come home and tell me how great such and so and so was, and what a great person and female she was, and she's doing good stuff and all that stuff. And I'm sitting there like, well, I've been doing that for 10 years.
Yeah.
I've never heard you say that about me.
Yes.
And why not?
Yeah.
And it really was because he thought he shouldn't have to. In his mind, because he's a very alpha male and
Hmm.
a wonderful, wonderful father. What I mean, all of that stuff.
He is
In
a
his mind, I work, I go to work, I come home every day, I make sure that everybody, I make sure the kids are good. I even cook and I clean. I do these things. I wash clothes. What's the problem? What's
right.
the problem?
Right.
And
I,
how is it for me? It was really hard to explain. Well, why that wasn't enough?
yes.
Because it makes it feel like you're just being overbearing and like, yeah, that you do
You're
all
asking
that,
for
but. And so how do you say, yeah, you do all that, but?
yeah, but I
Because
still
but that's not for me. And so I actually had to say that. But yeah, but that's not for me. Like, you do that because that's what you want to do.
yes.
I'm not asking you to do that.
But this is what I want ladies to connect because see, V, like I said, had to do this in layers. The first thing she realized is what she was wanting from her husband, from other people, she had to first give to herself. So, if one of the number one needs that a woman has is to be seen, to be heard, and to be valued, you cannot expect someone else to do what you won't do. And so, because when you don't do it, you train people to not do it. And so, I hope you all heard her when she said she had to take some time to hear her own voice, to honor what her heart was telling her, to be seen by her, not have other people applaud her, but she had to learn how to applaud herself. And then she could ask her mate, her spouse, to say, hey, honey, I know you are holding it down. You're taking care of kids. You're involved in sports. You're a great father. But I also need this in my heart space. I hope you guys can hear that. Two layers. Do it for yourself and then do it, ask for it in your relationship. Make a request, not
Yes.
commentary, not
Yes.
say, well, you say that about other women. That's not a request.
Yeah. And I had to learn that.
That's not a request.
Mm-mm.
That's called a complaint.
It is called a complaint. Right. And that's what I would get back. Oh, I mean, what you complaining about? Why are you complaining?
Yes.
Like, I so yeah, so it was, the language was very different. I had to learn what my language was and the best way to communicate that to my husband. So during the time that we were separated, I spent a lot of time by myself. And my daughter's on here and she said it was a hard time. It really was. It was a hard time for everybody, but I had to choose me for once.
Yeah.
And most people in my life didn't understand that.
Yeah.
Most people didn't.
And most people
But
won't.
but most people in my life also didn't take the time to try to understand.
Yeah.
It's what they saw from the outside looking in. And granted, like, we are the Huxtables looking in, outside looking in, right?
Yeah. Y'all have picture perfect family, beautiful.
We do. And now, but now though, it is picture perfect in the
Yeah.
inside out, from
Yeah.
the inside out.
Now it is the real deal. And that's
Now it's real.
when I say sometimes things have to break all the way down for you to get
Yes.
breakthrough.
Yes.
So while
Eh,
you are resisting the difficulty, the hardship, all of the breakdowns that keep showing up, we will ignore them because when one of the things V said when she sat on my couch is I asked for this conversation 10 years ago. So that means for 10 years she had to somewhat put her blinders on. And
And
I
that's why we didn't make it. Like, honestly, we almost didn't make it to your couch, because when he asked me that question, and I can tell you, we were sitting in my kitchen, he was washing dishes, and I was sitting at the table. I can tell you exactly the time, and he said, "Let's go to get some counseling." And my mind and what my lips wanted to say was, I asked for that 10 years ago. What's the point now? Like, I was not gonna go, but God said, just say yes. And so I said, okay. But I said, okay, but you got to find the person because I'm not doing it.
Yeah. That's why I said I already know what the situation is. When a husband is beating down my door, it's usually the wife has said, you go find her. Now,
Yeah.
V, what you do in one area of your life, we often do in other areas. And so while you were transforming your relationship, or at least how you were showing up in your marriage and in your family, what did you discover about what you were doing at work?
Yes. So the same, I was doing the same thing at work. I was giving all of me away. All of me. I was giving everything away. I had people I was mentoring. I was giving all of it away from a very depleted place, right? Because I promised myself, right, that if I made it in the federal government, I went into the federal government 19 years old,
Mm,
pregnant, right?
yeah.
Only Black woman on the staff. And I made it to senior executive status in a very short period of
Yes, she
time.
did. We're talking
And
high
I
of government, ladies.
and I always said that when I made it in the federal government, I would teach other people how to do that, how to navigate this thing. And so I did that, but I did it from a space of I'm continuing to give and give and give. And so what I learned was it was never going to be enough.
Yep.
And so while I had people that and people that I nurtured, the first one of them, the first time I told them no, they went off. I mean, totally off to the point where they tried to railroad my career.
Yes.
Absolutely tried to railroad my career in a major way. And
Yeah.
these are people that had been coming into my house, knew my
Yep.
family, knew my kids, and then all the other people that I had helped along the way turned their backs. They
Yes.
didn't see anything. They put blinders on, many of them. But I had a few that stood up for the truth and are still dealing with the repercussions of standing up for the truth,
Yes.
right? So all of this is happening, and it's like, okay, God, but when people look at you, they're like, so what did you do? And that's how it was in my family and my marriage. So what did you do?
Yeah.
What did you do? And it's like, you
And
know what I did?
I want you guys to imagine that being a giver, because I know you guys can relate, where you freely give out information, you are mentoring people, you aren't selfish with your position of power, you are in that space and you're trying to help other people. And while you're trying to help other people, somebody is trying to stab you in the back, and it's
They want
almost
my
done.
whole life, my whole life. It was like the movie Obsession. Like, and other people were telling me that, right? Hey, I think she really wants it. And for me, it didn't matter because I was like, I don't care. I mean, she can have my job. My goal, what my belief system was is that you should always be preparing the next person for your job. So
Yes.
I was never intimidated by that. Like for me, it was like, yes, I want that because I need to take a break. So I need somebody who can fill in, right?
Mhm.
Or when I move on, that can take it because my loyalty to this
Yes.
career was that I can't leave them without something there. I can't leave them that way.
Guys, to hear that, because some of you guys are doing that right now, that you are literally putting you on the altar for your job, that if they feel like it, they will find your replacement tomorrow and step over you like it ain't nothing.
Yep.
So, because one of the things that happened to V is I call it, she had an involuntary detour where they didn't remove her from, well, what they did is they moved her off and said, you're going to go work over here while we try to figure out some issues and this and that. And I know I was kind of talking to V during this time, and I know how much that hurt her because, again, when you are a giver, when you're a big hearted person, one of the major things that we value is our own integrity. So she was like, "Oh my gosh, but what are people going to say? My name, I am, I've been doing so much good. How can people try to railroad me?" But as difficult as that was, I told you guys that a breakdown is nothing more than an invitation for a breakthrough.
Yes. And God showed up.
For that
God,
whole time frame that you were kind of reassigned, what did you do
Yes.
with your time that you had?
I built a business. I started real estate. I built a consulting business. I did all the things that I've been wanting to do. So I was like, okay, you guys can pay me almost $200,000 a year to, you know, to be the head. Basically, they had me doing filling in for the budget person in
Just
a grants
her
office that really was like
beneath her.
so way out of my lane, right? But even there, I was able to, even there, leadership found me, right? Leadership finds you. So even in that space, it was like, okay, guys, so what do I do here? Well, that helped me learn that lane for the nonprofit we had. That helped me, and I was able to build businesses during that time. So they funded my business building until I made the choice to resign.
Wow. And ladies, I want you to hear again something that she had held so tightly to herself that she was willing to sacrifice so much for. At the end of the day, God was trying to give her something far greater. And
Yes,
I know that was hard for you, V, because again, it
yes.
wasn't just the job, it was all of the emotional investment that you had made into the job.
Lots of emotional investment. I was there till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, helping, giving, I mean, everything, giving, connecting people to my connections,
Yep.
making sure they had connections on Capitol Hill and in the White House. I mean, I was connecting people. They prospered off of my personal connections.
Yep. So once again, thinking everybody was going to have your back if you had theirs, but
Nope.
that time that you were kind of reassigned, involuntarily, and even though you made good use of the time, what did you learn about what is the balance between giving of yourself and being taken for granted and taken advantage of?
Hmm. Wow. So that was really hard, right? Because I had to look back on all of that and say, okay, how could I have done this differently and what do I do differently moving forward? So the balance is that I choose me. The balance is I choose me and I'm giving from an overflow now.
Yes.
I'm not giving from a place of deplete. I'm exhausted, but I'm gonna give you everything I got, girl. No. I'm giving from a place of overflow. So now my cup is full first.
Yes.
And I had to be okay with that. I had to be okay with saying yes to me and not feeling like I was being selfish. Because
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the world and everybody else will tell you you're selfish.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, small things like I got a hair appointment at whatever time. Why you got a hair appointment this time? I thought it was that day. Well, what if I change? It's okay, right? It's okay to say yes to me. I had to be in that space of it took us some time to be in that space of saying yes to me, filling my own cup first, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody, and then I can still be that person, but in overflow. And I also had to be very discerning about who I let in my space, and I had to listen to that small, still voice about those people that should have probably never been, that were just taking and
Yeah.
taking and
Yeah.
taking, but they looked like they were there. I can tell you, I went back through cards and all that kind of stuff that I got from people, this person, and the whole time, like it's just like, wow, they actually said that. And I keep pictures because I'm like, I need that. I need that because I need to look back on that because that photo, if I show you guys a photo of what that was, you'd be like, oh yeah, that's so cool. Like loving up on you. Mm-mm. That was not it. It
Yeah.
was not it at all. She wanted my life. All
Wow.
of it. All
Wow.
of it.
Wow.
All of it. She started going the same, even to the same hairdresser. It was like obsession, I'm telling you. So
Wow.
you have to be really good. You have to be, I mean, all of my friends she connected to, it was crazy.
Yeah.
I connected her to my supervisors, which gave her the opening for her to lie and start this process that I got thrown into. But thank God there's a God, and thank God you live your life with integrity for the time that you did, so that at the end of the day that shows up.
Now, one of the things, again, when you're going through breakdown, And because like I said, y'all, we could talk all day to V, but I'm not going to keep her because she is definitely a business mogul right about now. Is that breakdown does not feel good. It actually
No,
feels like railroaded.
it
It
is.
feels like God is going to abandon you.
It does.
And one of the things that V and I touched and agreed about is that God was going to restore her completely. But the restoration doesn't always look like what you think it's going to look like. And so, where are you now, V, in terms of your business, in a very short amount of time, people? I'm not talking
Yeah,
about
yeah,
the time I've known her. This has really been in the last
yeah.
year. What have you been able to manifest, and what has God brought into your life since all of that breakdown, even in your job, in your professional career? Where?
Right. So I spent 2 years by myself, separated from everything, of course, except for my kids, right? And in that time, I had to spend a lot of time alone because I didn't know what I liked. I didn't know what to do. What do I do? I'm here. I don't have anybody to answer to but me.
Mm-hmm.
And what am I answering to? So that time gave me the time to learn all the things about me, right? That I liked, this didn't like, wanted to do, didn't do. So what has happened in that short amount of time is I've been able to hear God's voice very clearly. I've made myself available for Him to show up.
Yes.
I I don't know if you guys can see, but this space right here, this is my prayer room.
Yes. Yes.
And I made myself available. Those over there to the right for you guys is my prayer requests, and those are prayers answered on a wall. I have my favorite scriptures on the wall. It's a place for me where I get to spend some quiet time with me and learn about what God is doing and what God wants me to do. And so I learned how to operate in the spirit. And because of that, I was able to hear the steps that God wanted me to take. And those steps were things that He was bringing into my life. First, about the receiving, I had to learn how to receive. I had to
Yeah.
learn how to receive. And I say this to people because Melissa has changed my life about 15,000 times, y'all. Don't think that this was like I sat on her couch one day and I was good. No. Every time I talk to her, she changes my life. Like, it's been changed even today, right? So I had to learn how to receive what the universe was giving, and I had to learn how to discern whether that was something, a God thing or not.
Yes.
And I had to learn to save my yes for my best yes.
Yes, girl.
And so my best yes fell into four categories. It was um building my business, it was my personal balance, it was um, family,
Yeah.
and it was my spiritual self.
Mm-hmm.
And so if it doesn't fall into those categories, I had to say no. And I had to be okay with saying no, right?
Yes.
And relationships got restored during that time. I mean, I learned so much about myself that now I was available for God to unleash and to give me. And so I know you guys have seen like that little meme where it says your blessings are going to somebody else's street because you're not at the street that God said that you were supposed to be at, that he was delivering your package and you ain't there. Well, I wasn't there. I
Yes.
wasn't there. And so now I am there. This has been something, real estate has been something that I've been wanting to do for a very long time. And I knew also that mentoring people and loving on people and teaching people and the lessons that I learned and the things that I learned was something that I wanted to continue to do in spite of what happened, in spite of how people used me. I wanted to be able to do that. So I started my consulting business. I can do that from a business space now, and I don't have to have you all the way in my heart space, even though I still work on that, right? Because I love everybody, but I
Woo!
don't have to have you in my heart space. But
Yes.
I can love you from outside of my 30 inches of personal space.
Yes.
Everybody can't have a front row seat in my life anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that. And so because of that, God's opened up all these doors. Real estate, honestly, when people say, wow, in a year and a half, I've been in this business a year and a half, and was top producer
Yes.
already in my
Multiple,
brokerage. And
multiple times.
I am here, like, and it's just like, okay, God, like, this is real. I mean, when I stepped away from my federal government job, it was a leap of faith, right? Because here I am, in that 1 month after I stepped away, I got 8 ratified contracts in 2 weeks.
Yes.
I was available. I was ready. I had built those things that I needed to build and put in place inside me first, and then from the inside out, because people had to respect that space and my need for me. And if people can't do that, I had to be okay with them walking away. And I can tell you that there's some people currently, even in my family, who have walked away because they don't accept that my business doesn't run based on their feelings about people.
Yeah.
My business doesn't run based on how you feel about what I should be doing.
And really, V, it's not.
And I love them. I love them.
Yeah.
But you made that choice. Like, you choose. And one of the other things that I have learned, and Melissa, thank you for this, is that you choose how you feel about me. I was in a place where I would always feel like I'd done something to make people feel a certain way about me. I was taught that if people feel a certain way about you, it's something that you've done. The church teaches us that, right? The church teaches us that.
You must be out of order. I love
Out
that.
of order, yes. And I'm like, but when you know that you have been absolutely genuine and you have done nothing, you have to be okay with people walking away.
That's right.
Because and I had to get to that place because I want to hold on to everybody and take them all with me.
Yeah. But everybody,
that's not everybody. My place isn't, where I'm going isn't for everybody, and everybody's not ready for what's next. Because God's working on them too. Like, they're in a process too.
that's right.
So, now, I mean, I'm running a hugely successful real estate business. Just started a team. I have a consulting business where I help build up other businesses.
Yep.
And I really am enjoying life. I'm enjoying my family. I'm enjoying relationships in a new way.
Yes.
In a very new way. In a way that I come first. And that's not selfish.
No,
it's
it's
what I need.
no, it's not.
Because if I don't, then I'm coming again. Your cup, you got to fill it yourself. Nobody's responsible for my happiness but me. And that's one of the things I had to learn about my husband. It wasn't him. He's not responsible for my happiness at all.
Yep. He can add.
I am.
He can add.
He can add to it.
Not responsible.
He is not responsible for it. Nobody. Neither was the job. Job wasn't responsible for me being joyful.
Yep.
It's not. It's my job. It's my job. And if I don't do it for me, I can't expect anybody else, because you teach people how to treat you based on how you treat yourself.
Absolutely. And so, ladies, I hope you can hear that if you have set up your relationship like it is a brokerage, like this is a means of exchange. I do this for you and you do this for me. And many of us are emotionally bankrupt because ain't nobody giving you nothing. You just keep giving and you just keep giving. And as I told V, as long as you keep on giving, people gonna keep on taking.
They will, absolutely.
And it doesn't mean that you can't be a giver, but you cannot give what you have not given to yourself.
That's right. And I was doing that, which depleted me in a major way. And I didn't even know it, though. Like, you're walking through life and you don't know it because it's just how you were raised. And I used to say it's how I was born, but that's not true. I had to remove that belief system because God created us women as receivers.
That's right.
And from an infant to the time when somebody taught me that I had to do to be loved, then that I was receiving, right? You're receiving all of that.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden it just changes and it's like, well, what was that? And so I had to do a lot of work to go back and understand that. And I had to build new relationships, new ways of relating to my family, my mother, my father, in order to be able to relate to me better, my brother. in order to be able to relate to me better. And
Yeah.
I'm telling you, even now when I say no to people, it's like you might not hear from them a couple weeks. And that used to hurt my feelings.
Right.
Now it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't, because it's not about me, it's
It's,
about them.
it's a reflection of where they are.
Yes.
So, like I said, you all, if you joined late, you want to go back and listen to the replay of this. This is phenomenal. This is good, deep girlfriend kind of conversation, especially if you have been in a relationship 20 years or more. Again, I can't tell you how many people, and it's not even the folks who've been married for in what feels like forever, but some folks been with somebody for 3 years and you have totally lost yourself. You are totally, you just, whoever you're with, you just merge into them to the point that years go by and you don't even know what you like.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't know what
And
it's like to do you, to be you. If I put you somewhere by yourself, you're in anxiety because you don't know what it's like to not be doing and taking care of somebody else. But I
mhm.
love what V said, because part of your success, part of what God wants to kind of help us get back to, is to recognize that God created you to be able to receive. And so you got to put yourself in a posture that you can actually not just keep giving and giving, but you can receive what God actually has for you. And so
Yeah.
he has been able to receive it. Like I said, she has retrained some people. I love her husband. If he's
I
watching,
love him too. I love him too.
and
And he did the work too though. So I have to say that, like, you have to we had to do it separately. It
absolutely,
had to be separately, because we couldn't be in the same space and heal and work and heal in ourselves.
yes.
And that was hard. It was a very, very difficult time.
And
And you had to have the courage to do it
that's what I was going to say, V. That I think was key. Every
without any expectation of what the end was going to be.
That's right. Well, both of you all had to detach from the outcome. And that's what I say to couples. Do your work, because you need to do your work anyway, regardless if
Mhm.
you're with this person or not. You still got to go within and do your work. You just get to make the relationship better if you've done your work. But
Yes.
if you've done your work and you come back together and you may mutually decide this no longer connects, that this is complete, that this was for a season. But I thank God that, even though your husband, like I said, he beat my door down for some time, and keep coming back and saying, what am I missing?
Yeah.
What am,
Yeah.
why don't I get it? She's saying,
Yeah.
but I don't get it.
Yeah.
Gotta be teachable.
Yeah.
Gotta be teachable.
Yeah.
Hey,
And,
when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And I
yeah.
thank God that both of you were in a space that God could teach you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so blessed because and it's one of those things where Renee, I think Tanisha's on here, Gibson. Yeah, yes, it was restored, and we love each other from a very different place now. And he respects me as a woman. Not just like a wife. I'm not just wife. I'm not just mother, but
Yes.
I'm me. Like and he appreciates me for me, and I felt like that wasn't that for a very long time. Like he didn't. I felt like just didn't like me. He liked all the
Yeah.
other stuff, but he didn't like me, who I
Yeah.
was.
Did, but he didn't even know you. But part of
He
why
didn't know me.
he didn't know you is you didn't know you.
Yes, because I didn't know me. She's absolutely right. So what I was giving him was him. I was giving him him.
Yep,
I
giving it
wasn't
right.
giving him me. And so when I started, if you're not showing up as you because you're so involved in who they are and you've consumed yourself with who they are, and this is at work, this is everywhere else. If people don't know you
Mm-hmm.
because you have absorbed yourself as them, and they don't even know what you like. They don't
Yeah.
even know what you like.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna
yeah, so.
with, because I'm getting that visual in my head of Coming to America. Remember when Murphy was gonna marry the African bride, and he kept saying, "Well, what does she like? What does I want to know this woman? I don't want just a wife. I want to know her." And she kept saying, "Whatever you like, whatever
Yes,
you like."
yes. That was it. And we do that as women. We're like, whatever you like, whatever you want, whatever you like. And it's like, no, but you do like stuff.
Yes,
So when
yes,
he brings home green and your favorite color is orange, well, why? Why did he do that?
yeah, yeah,
But now he knows my favorite color is orange, and he gives me orange, and he
yeah,
loves me in orange.
yes. So, like us ladies, that's we could have a whole nother master class for the married sisters on how to get what you want in marriage. Because it's all about conversation. It's all about being direct. Men are extremely literal. We make it way complicated. Most of us talk to men the same way we talk to a woman, the way we talk to our girlfriend, who gets it immediately. And while men are like, "Woo, what did she just say?" They have no uh, but like
Yes.
that's another class on another day. But V, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. If there is one last word of wisdom, and I'm thinking specifically for a woman who she wakes up, hits the ground running, just like you used to do, soon as her feet hit the floor, she's taking care of other people. She's holding it down at the office. She may be the boss. She may be the woman in charge. She goes in early. She stays late. She's cooking the dinner. She's picking everybody up. Her weekends are preoccupied. How does that woman begin to interrupt the pattern and get back to who she is?
You're asking me? Did you ask me that?
Yes. What
Okay, okay. I missed the
is that?
first part. I missed that you were asking me that. How does that woman you start saying yes to you? Because all those things have to happen, and even now, all those things still have to happen. But first, I do me. First, I give me. Because if I don't give me, nobody else will. Nobody else is gonna give it to me. So I do that, and then I open myself up to receive what the universe is giving. Simple stuff like somebody wants to open the door for you, your hands are totally full. This is a visual, ladies. Your hands are full. And somebody says, let me get that door for you. And your response is what? No, I got it. Why you got it? Why do you got it? You ain't got it. Oh, let
Right,
them open the door for you.
right.
Let them, you drop pins on the floor, paper, and you got a big old bag you're carrying, and you got all this stuff. Somebody says, I'll get that. And you're like, no, I got it. And everything's falling out while you're trying to get it. That's your life. You
Mhm.
got it. And
Yep.
the universe is trying to help you, and you ain't got it. And I didn't have it, but now I do. I got it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so what do? You do all those things, but you do them through your feminine energy,
Yes.
not you do them because it's because you operate from a very smooth feminine rhythm of energy.
Okay, V, you know that's a whole nother masterclass about femininity.
So yeah, so
It
that's what you do because you can't do it all. If you do all those things,
is class.
you're not gonna make it. You're
And
not
what
gonna make it.
I say is because this is what I say to women: just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yes.
Just because you can open the door while you're carrying all the luggage and carrying all the grocery cart doesn't mean you should. So,
Doesn't mean you
and for
should.
those of you who have sons, I am even now, my 9 year old, is he may complain, because that's the other thing too. I didn't like people to complain. So if you're going to complain, I'd be like, oh, I got it. I'll do it myself.
Yep.
But I don't want to train him to be lazy. So I want to train him to honor a woman, to assist, to be in the space of a man who can serve. So if mommy pulls up, even though I could pull the stuff out of the car myself, I'm going to say, you go ahead and get that. And he may say, why? Because I asked you to. So it puts me in the space of making a request. Because I can't even tell you, V and I, we're so alike in so many ways. How many times my husband will say, you need me help? And I'll say, no, I got it. And just like V said, when you continue to say, I got it, guess what you're going to have? You got it. You
You
got it.
got it. She don't need nothing.
Yep, you
She
got it
got it.
all.
Yeah, you got all of it.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So don't feel like you have to do because that's what a woman is trained to do. And I just one more quick thing before we go off because I just want to share how like there's still work being done in my house, right? So
Mhm.
I'm home. It's very different when you are a self-employed entrepreneur and people want to fill your day with their stuff, right? So
Mhm.
you are a business person. You have to be able to make your calendar and do your thing. So I'm home and my husband comes home with his glorious self, love him to death. And he says the first thing out of his mouth, and I don't know if he had a bad day or what, but it's the energy that you put in, right? I've learned to not absorb the energy. So he says, "What you do all day?" And I said, "Real estate," with a smile on my face. And he says, "Oh, so you didn't put this chicken on for cooking?"
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't even think about it. I was like, "No." And he says, "Oh, and I guess you didn't sweep the steps either, huh?" I was like, "Nope." And so I just like, I mean, because it just wasn't part of what I had to do for the day. And again, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Right.
And that was not what I had planned for the day. And so it was a little tense, the later on the day. He fixed it. I take 2 minutes to do it. I'm like, okay. I used to absorb that energy. I don't do that anymore because I know what I provide and I can't be guilted into what you should be doing that I think you should be doing when
That's
I know what it is that God has me in store for me that day. So you operate from that place of what God has for you and but you got to know what that is. Like you got to be in that space because if you're not, then you're not going to be able to do it successfully.
mm-hmm.
So that's it. I mean, it's just again, all relationships are work. I should not say that. That is a bad belief system. All relationships don't have to be work. You require the work within
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
But I also have to just remember that I come first, and if I'm not feeling whole, then that's things that I need to work on. I need to figure out like what balance I need, and balance is key.
That's right. That's right. V, I didn't even realize we've been talking for an hour. Woo, I told y'all. And for those of you that are going with me to Costa Rica, V is my right hand. So
I
you
can't
will
wait.
can pull her into a corner and talk a little more. And like I said, she is one of those rare people who has kind of cracked the Melissa code. So she always can get in my space. Our birthdays are just about 2 weeks apart. That's probably why. Uh, but thank you so
I
much.
missed it.
Oh, I was just saying thank you so much for sharing today. And for those that are going to Costa Rica, y'all will get to see V again. Um, and V, if anybody is looking to sell a home or buy a home or rent to own, I'm telling you, V is holding it down. She has probably sold more homes than some of the people who even sponsored her into the business. So V, where can people reach you? Is there, other than I know you're on Facebook, but how can they reach you business wise if they have some maybe real estate?
Business wise, you can reach me at yconsulting@gmail.com. It's WYE consulting at gmail.com. And yes, I am happy to help you take your business to the next level. Launch your life. I launched in my life,
Yes,
ladies.
yes. Thank you, ladies, so much. Oh, I can't wait to read all these
I can't
comments.
wait for Costa Rica.
Yes, 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 yes. So you all take care. Have a marvelous Monday. Make space for you, make space for your life. Learn how to say yes to what God is offering you. Because when you say yes to yourself first, then you can give your best yes to other people. So much love. I'll talk to you all soon.